Good morning. I'm Andrea Foligno, principal of Smalley School. My assistant principal, Miss Ruiz. We want to just say thank you for all of you to come and welcome our students back to school. We want to thank Commissioner Cardona, Lieutenant Governor, Representative Bobby Sanchez, and Superintendent Sarah, Assistant Superintendent Mr. Foreign, and Lisa Menza from the state to come and welcome our students back to school.
All right, thank you.
Commissioner?
No, we're going to have, yep, go ahead.
So this is an exciting day. It's a day we've been preparing for since March. Really happy. I have to just give a shout out to our families, to our kids who are here today, and to our administrators who have prepared every day since March to make this a reality, to have our kids back. We're excited to see them, and we're excited to just dig into the learning, making sure that we're building their muscles around the technology that it's a life skill that they'll use always, but we want to be sure that they are ready for a potential remote full learning. We're excited that we're able to offer daycare to all of our families in the event that they are working outside of the home. So everything, it's just nice to see all the planning that we did, that it went smoothly this morning, and we anticipate bumps along the way, but we've got a great team of problem solvers, and we're confident that we can handle the problems that arise. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Superintendent. The governor and I have been visiting schools across the state as they have been opening to see what protections they've put into place for students and teachers. And it's great to be here in New Britain. The leaders here have obviously put a lot of time and thought into preparing for the students' arrival. So we just took a tour and we saw kindergarten through 5th grade, and the desks are well spaced. All the children are wearing masks from the youngest to the oldest, and they've been learning how to wash their hands and work in the classrooms. The teachers are also very excited, along with the students, to be back. And we're hoping that right now we understand about 50% of the families opted to send their kids to school, 50% opted to keep them home. And I think once families get more comfortable with the protections and the precautions that have been put into place, I think they expect to see more students learning in person. So we're excited to see this. Good job, well done. We see lots of good things that you've really thoughtfully put into place. And with that, it's my pleasure to introduce our Education Commissioner, Cardona.
Thank you. Good morning and welcome. What an exciting day for the New Britain community. And that's what we saw here today, community. We saw parents, students smiling. I want to commend the principal and the assistant principal for the work to create such a welcoming environment. It's hard enough to open school on the first day of school. To add a pandemic, to add the lieutenant governor and commissioner visiting with Representative Sanchez, they've done amazing work. Kids were smiling, teachers were smiling. We saw cafeteria, food service workers there smiling, custodian. It's really a team effort. We're glad to be back, and we look forward to a successful year here in New Britain. Thank you. And I'm really pleased to introduce education co-chair and great friend to this school, Representative Bobby Sanchez.
Thank you, Commissioner. Very excited today that we were able to see the kids come in with their parents, and that all the children had masks on. The protocols that they have in place here in New Britain are really great, and the administration that we have here in New Britain has done a really good job. And I love this principal and the assistant principal. I love this school. It's in my district. I'm glad that this is the second full year of a new school that the kids are attending. The families in this neighborhood are so excited about this school. And yes, there's about 50% of the children that opted to come in, and 50% are home, but we're hoping that other 50% that's home will eventually start coming back in within this week or next week. So I'm excited for this year. It's a unique year, and we'll see what happens in the upcoming weeks of school. Thank you.
See, this is what happens when you put a lot of women in charge. Smoothly.
Agreed.
Okay, so we want to just say thank you to the press for coming. We really appreciate it. And all of this distinguished panel of experts would be happy to answer whatever questions that you folks might have.
I guess the first question is, were you impressed with, and you can, for the commissioners,
Sure.
Lieutenant Governor, just talk about the resiliency you saw. I was surprised. The kids seemed, other than the masks, it almost seemed like a normal first day of school, right? Does that kind of give you optimism going forward?
Oh my goodness, absolutely. I think kids are excited to be back. I think families would like to have their kids back in school because there is no substitute for in-person learning. And this backdrop of the pandemic, well, it is what it is, and we're doing everything we can to cope. And I just would congratulate the school staff for making it seem normal, in quotes. Commissioner?
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. So I think that's a byproduct of good planning, good communication by the superintendent and her staff. And it was nice to see students smiling, coming in. You know, students are resilient. We have to recognize that and do as much as possible to try to, while putting safeguards in place, give them that experience that they deserve in public education.
Well, Commissioner, I wanted to ask you about the situation in Hartford, obviously with the ransomware attack. I hate to shift gears here, but I know we're still learning about exactly what happened, but what can you tell us right now and what's kind of the next step? I know obviously the local folks in Hartford are dealing with the
Sure.
first line.
You know, I feel for the families and the school community in Hartford. They were ready to go. They worked really hard to plan, and then something like this happens. But, you know, safety first. We know that when things like that happen, it affects major systems, feeding students, bus systems. So we want to make sure that when we bring students in, we can do it safely. And I commend the Hartford team for making a decision last minute for what's best for the community.
And obviously in Hartford and here in New Britain and everywhere else across the state, major investment in technology, which was very necessary. Is there a way that, like, how can that investment best be protected? Because obviously going forward, it's going to alarm some parents, obviously. So what do you think, what would be your message to them about that?
About investment in technology?
Yeah, in technology, the protection of that investment. Because somebody would say, okay, geez, we spent all this money on all this technology, which is very necessary, obviously, with what's going on. And then you have something like this pop up
Sure.
On the first day of school.
Well, we know we're not going back to March 12th, the way of doing business. So technology, blended learning is going to be a part of education moving forward. So for us to invest in that, it just makes sense. And we're going to get better every day. We're going to get better every year, and our students are going to be better for it.
Could I just add to that?
Well, come over this way if you don't mind.
Yeah,
Sorry.
sure. So first of all, I would say thank you to the Dalio Foundation because they contributed $43 million so that those Chromebooks and laptops could be purchased for any school district or student that needed that. Having said that, our cybersecurity unit of the state police will be on this. And we're going to also make sure that the United States Attorney's Office for Connecticut, which also has a cybersecurity unit, will be on this because it's unacceptable. And what a terrible thing to do to our kids at the beginning of school. So we're going to do everything in our power to bring whoever did this to justice because this is a bad thing. And I can't imagine criminals taking advantage of young kids.
I just wanted to add that during this pandemic, and this has been going on for years, the inequities that we have in the system, and with the urban sites, we know that we're going to have to invest more so moving forward. So that's going to take, of course, more funding. And these are some of the things that we're going to be tackling in the upcoming years. We have to, because we can't let this happen again, where children go out of school without having the technology and the resources so that they can connect and get an education. So we're going to continue to work with that. And hey, the commissioner, we're going to work together, and we're going to work with the administration and work with the governor and lieutenant governor to make sure that we get these resources in for all our kids and our families.